Damn, son, where'd you find this?
There's a hole in my life. You're listening to Juliana Hatfield live here in the KEXP studios, and that song Lost Ship from the album Weird, that came out just over a year ago.
Yeah.
And then another album that came out in 2019 was the Juliana Hatfield Sings the Police.
Right.
And thank you so much for sharing so much of your music with us today. I have been a fan for over 30 years, and you've made a lot of music, and it stays so relevant to my life. I want to dig into the last few albums. We don't have time to talk about your whole catalog because it's so big, but everything you're writing just seems to speak to me, and it seems like you're just writing from what you're thinking, what's going on in your life. I mean, just going back to 2017, Pussycat, that was exactly how I felt, after the 2016 election. The political climate was on a crazy trajectory.
Yeah, that album Pussycat was definitely completely inspired by the current events at the time, and it was a change for me because often I'm writing about my own just like inner experience, but that album was definitely directed more toward what was going on in the country and the culture, and it was all consuming, you know what it was like. And that was kind of the main thing that I was dealing with, and everyone was dealing with, and we're continuing to try to deal with it. Songs are still relevant, I think.
They are. I mean, you're still singing them, I imagine, at your live shows, and people can feel that right now.
Yeah. And I also think some of the police songs that I chose to do also seem really relevant today. Also, like the songs about abuses of power and slumlords and stuff like that.
Isn't that amazing to think that songs written so long ago are, they're still speaking to us and what's going on today?
Well, I think that stuff's eternal, like corruption is eternal. It'll never not exist in the world.
You took on in the last couple of years two beloved and iconic bands. I'm such a big fan of Olivia Newton-John, and you did Juliana Hatfield Sings to Olivia Newton-John.
Yeah.
And then the Police, which, I mean, I think it's fair to say I'm fanatical about that band. And those are not easy bands that you chose. Was it just from a place of love and admiration, or was there sort of a challenge there for you in trying to interpret that music?
Both. Definitely, I would say that doing the Olivia Newton-John songs was more technically challenged, like more vocally challenging, and also some of the songwriting is really pretty complex, some of it. Whereas the Police, I was much more familiar and comfortable with playing and singing those songs. They're a little bit easier for me to sing because Sting's vocal range somehow, like it's really, singing the songs makes sense. It feels very natural to me. And I had actually sung, I sang in a cover band in high school, and we did a lot of Police songs. And I, like you, was a fanatical Police fan, so I just really knew those songs inside and out in a way that I maybe wasn't as familiar performing the Olivia songs myself.
Your output is just incredible, and you always seem to be thinking about the next thing. How does songwriting and making records fit into your life?
It's just something that I do. I've tried to quit before, but I can't quit. It's just like sort of like necessary to my survival, I think. Writing songs and recording, those two things just feel like they give me life, or they prolong my life, and they make me feel like I have a purpose, really. So I do it it's really purely selfish. I do it because it feels good and right for me, but it's nice when when other people connect with it. That's the extra cherry on top of it all.
Well, I personally really connected to the album Weird, which was the one that came out just over a year ago. And you talk about sort of radical solitude in that record and in the lyrics in that song. And that's something that a lot of people don't understand. They think of it as loneliness, and that's something that I crave in my life. I've lived alone for a very long time, and I like to be alone, and I like people too. I have friends, and I do things, and I have a job, but you really dig into that subject. And
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you titled the album Weird because you maybe identify yourself as being weird for feeling that way, but can you talk a little bit about what that record's about? Because you go into quite detail in your lyrics, and they again, speak to me.
Yeah, I too am one of those people that truly enjoys and prefers solitude, and I'm like it feels like I'm what's the word? After I've been out among people, I feel really depleted of my energy, and not that I don't like being with people. Sometimes I do, but I can't do it all the time. But when I go and spend some time alone, it's like it's like medicine. Solitude is like medicine to me, and I do think that a lot of people don't understand that, or they don't believe it when I tell them that I prefer to be alone. And I just think that the whole society, quote unquote society, leads you to believe that there's something wrong with you if you're not, partnered, or you're not starting a family. But some of us don't want to make that choice. And so I guess Weird, the title is, it's I was thinking about how people might perceive me and people like me, but also sometimes I feel like a weirdo because I don't want to do those things that everyone else seems to be doing. But ultimately I was trying to really embrace that, embrace my true nature finally, and stop fighting against it. Stop trying to fight it, and just embrace the solitude.
I really appreciate the everyday moments and textures in the record and in the lyrics. They feel very authentic to me. Tell me how songwriting takes shape for you. Are you creating a mood for each record? It's really,
it's a very sloppy and intuitive process. I'm not a conceptual artist. I don't have high concepts. I don't really use my intellect too much. I just kind of sit down with an acoustic guitar and some vague feeling that something inside of me is pushing to get out, some feeling or idea. I have lots of scraps of paper around with little bits of lyrics or titles, or just vague ideas for songs, and I just start coming up with chord progressions and melodies, and it's a big mess. It's like putting a whole bunch of big puzzles together. And as I keep writing, the themes become known to me, become conscious to me. It's like I'm learning about myself when I'm writing.
Well, there's a lot of pieces in that puzzle because you've packed a lot in that record, Weird. And I know you produce your own stuff, and it sounds like you're very economical with your time in the studio. What does that look like?
Well, lately I've been doing a lot of, I've been doing some playing of my own drums. Although with the Police album I did a lot of, I would start with a very simple drum machine beat, and then I would add my very simple drumming on top of it. And I'm kind of really getting into that sound. And it is obviously very economical because it's just me. And I don't have to pay myself, But yeah, I never liked wasting time. I don't like to waste time. And I'm really good at moving on. My motto in the studio is, that's good enough. Let's move on. I don't believe in perfection. I think if you go after perfection, you're just going to drive yourself crazy. You're going to go down rabbit holes that have no end, and you're going to just never complete the project. So I'm really good at shutting things off when I have something that's fine and moving on to the next thing.
Are you taking input from other people, or is this your solitary vision?
Well, yeah, there's not a lot of people involved, but I've been working with this engineer named James Bridges, and he's great to work with because he's almost like a wizard, because I'll be struggling with something like what sound do I want on this guitar solo, or I'll try to express what sound I want. Like I'll say it's like a train on fire falling over a cliff and landing in an ocean, and he'll like pull out a distortion pedal and some effect, and he'll produce the exact sound that I just described really badly. So it's like, but me and James making a record together, it's just with the two of us and some musicians maybe coming in like on the last record, my drummer here, Chris Anzalone, who's in the studio, he played some drums on the Police record. And but yeah, we get it done really fast. And I have some instincts. I have good instincts, I think, for my own stuff. And I know what I don't like. Sometimes I know what I don't like before I know what I like. But I can get it done pretty quickly.
Well, since you introduced Chris, can you introduce the rest of this talented band?
Yes. Over to my left is Mike Oram on second guitar, another guitar. And then across the room from me is Dean Fisher on bass, who's played a lot of bass with me over the years.
We're fortunate to have Juliana Hatfield and her band live in the KEXP studios today. They're playing tomorrow night at the Tractor Tavern here in Seattle. And you up for a couple more songs?
Yeah, we're going to do one now, which is called Everything's for Sale. And I think it's pretty self-explanatory. It goes like this. What do you think? How fast? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Getting tight. Don't give it away if someone will pay. On your honor, everything's for sale. Your defeat, victory for the others. When you throw it in, maps and directions, promise of protection, guns and religion, eroding seaside lots and hurricane states, admission to Ivy League and very white teeth, commemorative codes, what's it? Government positions, pretty babies. No exceptions, everything's for sale. Trophy wives and dog meat and fake IDs, hugs and kisses and highly sensitive information. Executive, aristocratic, ivory, freedom and organs, and multiple spins, Narcan spray paint, bath salts, meth, opioids, steroids, and weed. Bulletproof phone booths, and flower delivery, and altered DNA, self-cleaning ovens, conversion therapy, rabbit ears and feet, lip injection and airstreams, original ideas, stolen jewelry, pesticides, and a private jet for the preacher praying for it on TV, scheduled C-sections and final service and loyalty, future trips to outer space, better ratings than animal pants and a wall full of memes. Okay, this one's called Wonder Why. 1, 2, 3. Curl sheepskin rug, call the bird. Sometimes I wonder why. Plastic clock, knock me out on the butcher block. Cuts roll my mind. my childhood memories tonight. I wonder why my corduroys were always light blue, and I never had a TV in my bedroom. Just a flame from an electric candle on my windowsill, and I dreamed I was touching you.
Very nice.
Thank you.
That one's from the 2017 album Pussycat. Juliana, you have any records planned for 2020?
I do. Well, I already have my next covers album idea settled, but I don't want to say what it is yet.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, and I'm also writing a new album of originals.
That's exciting. Well, we'll look forward to seeing you later this year then, or early next year.
Yeah, hopefully have something out at the end of the year.
And you can see Juliana Hatfield tomorrow night at the Tractor Tavern here in Seattle. I want to thank you all so much for coming in today.
Thanks for having me back.
That was super fun. Did you have fun?
Very much.
All right, that was our main goal today. It's Juliana Hatfield live on KEXP Seattle.
Discover new music at listener-powered KEXP.org.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?